let's take a look at this question. We're going to be analyzing this question and provide an answer to it. But if you have an answer already, kindly go to the comment section and drop their answer right there. But for those who don't, now let's have the analysis done. The question says, Excel spends money as though she does Central Bank of ABK. This individual does this and she spends money as though she does Central Bank of ABK. When you have a structure, a question like this, you should understand that the examiner or the examining body is testing you for the understanding of how as though or as if is used in expressions, especially how these structures of as if and as though attract or how they choose the verb in situations. Now, when you have the structure of as though or as though or as if, when you have the structures showing up in a sentence or in an expression, two contextual situations are permissible. Two things come to mind. There are two situations that are realizable with these two structures. The first is when as though or as if is used in an expression. That expression could be talking about a real situation, a situation that is real, that is possible. While the second situation that is permissible or that is obtainable with the presence of as though or as if is an imagined situation, a situation that is unreal. Something that is not real is imagined. Something imagined is unreal. Now, how do we use this structure or this contextual situations to determine what answers our verbs will always be? When you have the expression or the as though or the as if talking about an unreal situation, an imagined situation, your verb will always be in the past or in the subjunctive form of the verb. So when the context of the situation is addressing or talking about something or a situation, an event that is imagined in the brain, that is created as a product of imagination, then your answer, your verb will always be in the past, right? Or in the subjunctive form of the verb. And I believe that you understand what subjunctive form of the verb is. I've talked about this many times on this channel. So that's the first way we can determine the answer to the verb here when we have the presence of as though or as if. Now let's go to the other side of the equation. When you have as though or as if, talking about a situation that is real, a possible situation, then your answer, the verb here, will always be in the simple present tense. If the situation is unreal or imagined, the verb will always be in the past or in the subjunctive form. But if the situation being talked about in the expression is real, is a possible one, has a possibility of happening, then your answer, your verb will always be in the simple present form. So, which of the situations we have here? Which of the situations do we have here? Excel spends money as though she does Central Bank of ABK. Remember, this can be as if. It's the same situation, right? It's the same structure, the same situation. Okay. Now, this person spends money as though she does Central Bank of ABK. For the speaker, the person speaking in this situation, the person giving this instruction, the person giving this expression, for this person to have spoken this way, it means that this individual, this Excel, doesn't have a central bank. It means that this individual doesn't have a central bank. And so, this person who doesn't have this bank spends money lavishly. That's the connotation, that's the interpretation. She doesn't have it, then she's spending as if she has it. That's what that means. If she has it, you can say, for example, if I play football so well that I score in every match like Lionel Messi, for example, you can say I'm playing football like a professional. A professional plays football the right way. It takes someone who is not a professional to play football like a professional. So if you have something, the speaker will not say, if Excel has this central bank, for example, The speaker wouldn't have said, Excel is acting like a CEO. If you're the CEO, you don't act like the CEO. You are the CEO. So it takes someone who is not a CEO to act like the CEO. So this person doesn't have this, so she's acting like she does have it. That means the situation is not real. This is imagined. So Excel is imagining the situation, and so she's acting in that capacity. So this is an unreal situation. So that means our answer should be a past form of the verb. Now, the first option here is owed, right? Owed. The past tense of to owe money, to be bankrupt, or to be in debt. To be in debt, right? To be in debt, to owe. So the past tense, in this case, will owe be the right answer? Will owed be the right answer? You're spending money. If you're spending lavishly, it means you're not owing nobody, right? So this is actually pretty wrong. The meaning here is wrong because this individual does not owe anybody. She doesn't owe anyone, or she's not owing anybody. This would be wrong for this context, even though it is in the past. Yes, this verb is in the past, but the meaning is wrong. This means debt, to be in debt, right? To be in debt. So this meaning is wrong. Number two, owns. Number two, owns. Owns simply means to have something, to have or to possess something. Excel spends money as though she owns the central bank of ABK. Now remember, because this situation is imagined, your verb cannot be in the present. It has to be in the past or in the subjunctive case. So that's why this option is wrong. Although this meaning is what fits into the situation, right? Owns, have, possess. And of course, you know that this is wrong because we can have a simple present tense verb in this case. Option C, we have owned. Owned. This is the right answer to this question. Excel spends money as though or as if she owned Central Bank of ABK. And here, option D, Excel spends money as though she owned it. This is actually wrong. You can have a continuous form of verb in this situation. So that's actually the answer to this question. Now, if you want to know, I cleaned my signature. Now, let's have an example of a real situation. For example, you can have something like this. It looks as though it's dash rain. Now we have this option: will, would, C, rained, and D, with rains. So it looks as though it does rain. This is talking about a weather condition. It looks as though it does rain. And of course, you know that when we talk about weather, there are signs, visible signs, that show that when you see, you easily know that, okay, you can predict whether it will rain or it will not rain. For instance, when you see a cloudy sky or you will begin to hear thunderstorm, you know that, looks like rain will fall. So there are indicators to show the reality or the possibility of rain falling. That's the content we have here. So it looks as though it does rain. This here is talking about a possible situation, a situation that is possible, an event or a situation that is capable of happening. So this isn't talking about something imagined. You can't imagine a cloudy sky. You see it. So when you see something like that, you have situations like that, your verb will always be in a simple present form. Are we clear? But when you have a situation talking about something imagined or something unreal, then you have your answer in the past tense. So in this case, a verb should be a present tense verb. Here, okay, option A, it looks as though it will rain. That's the right answer. Now let's check option B. It looks as though it would rain. Would is past. This is wrong. Would will be wrong here because the situation is a possible one. It's showing possibility, right? It's showing something that is not imagined. This is not a work of imagination. So it looks as though it would rain is wrong. But if this had been, it looked as though it would rain. That could have been it, right? Okay, so let's come to option C. It looks as though it rained. No, this doesn't make sense. Option D, rains. It looks as though it rains rain. So this is not obtainable. So this is actually very wrong. That is that about this class. If anything, I believe you learned how to approach questions or expressions with this structure. When you see as though or as if, look for the context. If the situation talks about a possibility or a real situation, your verb should always be in the simple present form. And if the context is about impossibility or imagination, then your verb should always be in the past tense or in the subjunctive form of the verb. Thanks a lot for watching. I believe you've learned something intriguing in this class. If you have, do want to like this video and share to as many people, students and teachers who might need content like this. Remember to keep speaking right and keep learning right. See you next time. Bye.